Awesome. So welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us today. As you know, it's JMPankey, and I'm excited to introduce you to a friend of mine, Lou Bortone. If you attended our very first
Wow, that was
SpaHive, can you believe it? Our very first SpaHive mastermind back, what was that, like 3 years ago, Lou?
yeah, in Providence.
Yeah, in Providence. Lou spoke to us all there. And so I thought, since we're all, a lot of us are home, and we're thinking about what this new normal is like in our industry. So most of our audience is spa, hospitality professionals.
Yep.
And so Lou is going to help us navigate how we can create better videos, why we should create video content for our businesses and our spas. And before we get started, if you have a moment, if you have any questions, there's a chat button at the very bottom of the screen. So you can chat and ask questions. Can people unmute themselves, Lou, or should we have them chat?
They should be able to unmute themselves, but we can do chat if you want to try and keep the recording clean.
So if you have any questions, I will monitor chat because I am not the expert in this subject, and I will ask Lou questions as we go. And Lou's going to tell us a little bit about himself, and I'm very excited to have everyone join us. We will have this recording available after. So if you could just put your name and your email address in the chat, only because we are using Lou's account versus my Zoom account, so I don't have all the info. So just put your name and your email, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of this as well, so that you don't have to take notes. So welcome, Lou, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to share my screen like full screen, and then you can let me know if everything looks okay. But for now, I'm gonna mute everybody except you. Can you still hear me? Okay, you're unmuted. I'm unmuted. So, and if I go full screen here, I won't be able to see the chat, so you keep an eye on that, but I can...
I will keep an eye on the chat.
Slides. All right, awesome.
And Marianne's on as well, so she'll keep an eye on the
great.
chat.
All right, thank you. So anyway, I've been doing this video thing online for a while, and it's kind of funny because now that we're sort of all on lockdown, I realize how introverted I am and how much I don't go out, because it hasn't been that much different. But obviously we're in a different world than we were a few weeks ago, and video is going to become more important because we're going to need to do things like this to connect online. So I think, you know, if you're able to do video, and if you're comfortable doing more video, you're going to kind of be in the catbird seat, because we're going to be needing to do so much more of it until all this craziness subsides, I guess is the best way to say it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about video best practices. I'm going to share the 7 secrets of video marketing, and I'll show you some new tools and resources that you can use right away, most of which are free. And I'll share some tips along the way. Feel free to ask questions, or Julie, chime in whenever you want and unmute yourself. And then you can also put questions in the chat if you want, and we'll keep an eye on that as well.
I just unmuted myself for a second, because tell us about why you're qualified to tell us about video.
Well, I have been doing online video. Well, I've really been doing it sort of all my career, because I was in the television business previously. I worked at E! Entertainment Television. I worked at Fox in Los Angeles, not Fox News, Fox Kids I worked for. And when I left LA and came back to the East Coast, wow, close to 20 years ago, I really started doing online video. Everything was moving online. So I started a YouTube channel the same year that YouTube started, in 2005. And I've been doing online video ever since. And I've been working online and self-employed for 15 years. And now I'm just trying to kind of get the word out and share that video is a great way to connect and engage, especially for those brick and mortar folks who are now suddenly like, oh my gosh, what do we do now if my location is closed? So we're all getting very creative about sharing what we do online, and really trying to adjust to this new reality. That makes sense? Cool. So why do video now? Well, aside from the obvious reason, video is really the single most engaging tool to connect with your audience because it builds know, like, and trust better than anything else. So it's really, like I used to say, the next best thing to being there. And since we can't be there in person, we can use video as a way to continue to connect and engage with our customers and clients. I always tell my folks that video accelerates the sales process and generates revenue for your business because, again, if you're doing courses online, if you're teaching online, if you're doing whatever online, the more you can connect and engage and that person can see you on screen, especially if they can't see you in person, the more we're going to be in better position to move forward in this sort of new reality. Now, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about video. A lot of people think it's going to cost a ton of money, and it really doesn't because you can literally do it with your phone. A lot of people think it's going to take too much time. I'm going to try and show you some ways to streamline the process. People are afraid that they're not going to look good on camera. I had this issue myself as an introvert, and over time you kind of get over it. And especially now where it's like we all have to kind of be online and doing more of these Zoom meetings, we're just going to have to kind of get used to being on camera. People think they can't handle the technology, but the truth is there's not that much of it to deal with. And other folks think it's not worth the time or effort. And now more than ever, it really is important to get more video savvy and to be able to do this stuff online. So my little catchphrase or promise is that I get you and I got you. I've been where you are. I've done the brick and mortar. I've done the online. And a lot of people kind of say, oh, I've got your back. But I really, when I work with folks, I am heavily invested in their success. So let me share a couple stats about videos.
And if anyone can't see Lou's screen, just let us know in the chat.
Can you see it, Julie?
I can see it, but okay. I had some crazy setting on, so I didn't see it for a minute. So I just wanted to make sure everyone else could see it too.
Excellent, thank you. So this is even before the recent, changes in our world, but 33% of online activity, 33% of time online is video. I suspect that's going to be a hell of a lot more in the coming weeks. The average user spends 88% more time on a website that has video. So your websites, your home pages, it's really important that there's a video there welcoming guests, especially if you can't do it in person. Video drives 157% increase in organic traffic, so it's really good for search engine optimization. And my favorite stat is that marketers who use video grow revenue 49% faster than those who do not use video. 85% of marketers consider video an important part of marketing. 81% already use it as a marketing tool. And another 81% say that video influences buying decisions. So it's really, the whole world is sort of moving online and moving towards video. But another thing to keep in mind is that video content gets 12 times more shares than text and images combined. So if you're doing social media and you're doing Facebook or Instagram and you can add video to that, it's going to have a lot more impact. Another thing that's good about video is that viewers retain 95% of a message when they see it in video versus just 10% when they see it in text. And obviously, since YouTube started in 2005, video has grown exponentially to the point that 6 out of 10 people now prefer online platforms to live TV. I see this in my 21-year-old twins. There are 50 million creators making video content on YouTube right now, and 5 billion, that's crazy, YouTube videos are watched every day. People are sort of binging on YouTube as well. The average YouTube session is 40 minutes. And as I mentioned, 60% prefer video over TV. So as far as YouTube goes, just to touch on YouTube briefly, content is still the best way to get views. So the best optimization is making good videos that your audience wants to see. Watch time is really important on YouTube. You want to try to keep people on your YouTube channel for as long as possible. And again, it all comes down to engagement. So if you can create content that is relevant and engaging to your audience, you're going to have a much better chance of succeeding on YouTube. And again, Julie, I don't know, for this audience, I assume a lot of folks are already making videos sharing some of their products or trends or things like that online.
You know, Lou, I think that some are, but I
Mm-hmm.
would say that, you know, video and social media, a lot of social media and doing it really well in general
Yeah,
is, you know, still new for our
right.
industry. So there
Yeah.
are some that are killing it,
Mm-hmm.
and there's others that, you know, it's hard for them to find the time and
Yeah.
don't even know where to start or what is the content that people
Mm-hmm.
actually want to see.
Oh,
You
great.
know, so
Okay.
if
So
I'm a brick and mortar,
yeah.
you know, a spa owner or salon, what does my audience want to see? What is good content?
Yeah.
And also if I'm a product vendor, you know,
Right.
because I know there's some product vendors and there's some hotels on as well
Mm-hmm.
today. So, you know, we're
Great.
brick and
Okay.
mortar hotel, brick and
Mm-hmm.
mortar spa or salon, or a product vendor, you know, what do our clients really want to see? What's this
Mm-hmm.
content
Yeah.
that's going to keep them engaged?
Okay, that's excellent to know, and I think that's a huge opportunity because the main thing is the more questions you can answer with video, the better. So basically, if there are questions that your customers and clients ask frequently, you can start to do short videos on those and put those online or put them on YouTube or put them on your website and be seen as a resource and an expert in your niche. So, for example, in my case, you know, one of the things people used to ask me all the time was, what camera should you use? And I would say, just use your iPhone. And finally, I just did a video, a 2-minute video, like, okay, here's what camera you should use. Use the one that's in your pocket. Use your phone. It's a great, you know, most of the newer phones have excellent cameras, so just use that. And we'll get more into content and what you should be sharing and a few newbie tips and things like that. But for the time being, I did want to point out, you know, why YouTube is so important, because a lot of the younger folks are what they call cord cutters. They're just basically not abandoning TV and just using things like Netflix or Hulu or Roku or any of these other services. So we have to really start to adjust to that and realize that, okay, people are not watching TV now, they're watching YouTube. In fact, YouTube reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds in an average week than all of the cable TV networks combined. And if you're wondering when's the best time to post on YouTube, this is certainly depends on your audience, but by and large, Thursdays and Fridays are great days to post on YouTube, and Saturdays and Sundays are great days to post for the most views, I assume because people have more time. But now that a lot more folks are being forced to work from home, these numbers may change or actually increase. Most people, when asked about how do you prefer to learn about a new product or service, the vast majority, 68%, say that they want to learn about these things by watching short videos. So again, if there are things that you're doing in person that you can start to do with video, if there are questions that are constantly asked that you can now put on video, and again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can do it with your phone or your webcam. I'm just using the webcam on my computer right now. So content is really more important than quality, as long as you're giving folks relevant content that they need. Like I said, video accelerates the sales process. More folks are using video and live video. This chart just shows how businesses plan to increase their efforts in the next year. And obviously video is up there in terms of the number of people planning to use more video. And another question I get a lot is, how long should my video be? And again, this depends on the specific video, but the vast majority of videos are under 2 minutes. So think short, think simple, you know, get right to the point and try and give your viewers the info they need as concisely as possible. And I always say that, you know, you really should have a video almost for every step of the customer journey. So there's a video on your homepage, and maybe that video says, hey, sign up and join our list to get this free report or this freebie. And then on the thank you page, there's a video. So really every step of the process, you can guide your viewers and your customers through that. Let me just skip a couple of these here because they're not relevant to what we're talking about. But again, 72% prefer video when learning about a product or service versus text. So the world is moving in that direction. The best practices for video, start with a strategy or a plan. So think about what you want the viewer to do at the end of the video and sort of reverse engineer it. If you want the viewer to call you to make an appointment, then design the video with the call to action in mind. Quality is more important, but content is still king, and your content should be relevant to the person you're speaking with on video. Keep the videos as short as possible. I would say post, promote, and repeat. So if you create a video, and I'll show you this in a moment, you can put that same video on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or any number of other places. If you are going to do video regularly, and I usually tell my clients to try to do one video a week, consider posting that on a schedule to sort of establish that appointment viewing. So maybe you're putting a new video up every Tuesday at 2 p.m. or something like that. You can actually schedule your videos on YouTube to come out at a specific time. And live video is probably, like Facebook Live, is probably the easiest way to get started and what I call the low-hanging fruit. It's casual, it's a little less pressure, it's very easy to do. You can do it with your phone or your computer. So we'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. I gotta move these things because they're blocking my text, sorry. Consistency is key, so try to create videos on a regular schedule, like weekly. And then consider that, a video for Instagram is gonna be different than a video for LinkedIn. You have to consider the format and the platform that you're using. But even though different platforms like Instagram, you can only do 30 seconds, you can still repurpose those videos across several platforms. And then I talk about I tell my clients to try to find their ideal style or their video sweet spot. So some people love doing live video. So Facebook Live is great for them. Other people prefer to do pre-recorded videos. So it really just depends. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It really just depends on what you prefer and what your viewers prefer. So again, I try to find, I try to pick 2 or 3 platforms. I don't try and be everywhere. So for me, it's usually YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Again, my audience tends to be female, over 40, lots of work at home. So I'm not on TikTok because that's for much, much younger viewers. I don't worry as much about Instagram and those things. I really focus on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And again, when it comes to
you're
video,
probably going to get into this as we keep going, but
yeah.
What's a good, easy kind of video editing tool?
Mm-hmm.
So if we are not, say, doing lives.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about live videos, you don't have to edit it. But if you are doing video editing, again, it depends whether you're on a Mac or a PC. If you're on a Mac, iMovie is probably the best way to do it. If you're on a PC, there are online. I mean, there's so many different platforms. It's hard to pick just one. But you can use online platforms like WeVideo, WE Video is something that's an online platform that you can use. I think it's like $5 a month or something. And I'll get a little bit more into that. But the good news is that you don't have to go crazy with editing. A little editing goes a long way. And that's why I like doing live video, because Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives don't really need to be edited. Whatever you're doing with your videos, make sure that you're also posting it on your own website or blog. And you can also put video on Twitter and or Pinterest, which a lot of people don't know that they're very video friendly. Skip that for a sec. So I say find the shortest distance between you and a finished video. What's the quickest way for you to do video? Is it live? Is it 2-minute video tips on YouTube? You may have to experiment a little bit, but you will find a platform and a style that you like the best. For me, I like doing PowerPoints and then sharing them online via Zoom like this, because I can get a lot of information out in a relatively short amount of time. So I tend to default to like PowerPoint videos like this one, where I can share my screen and sort of let the slides do the talking. So now I want to go through quickly the 7 pillars of video, and those are purpose, premise, production, platform, promotion, power, and profit. I like alliteration if you can't tell, but purpose is obviously the goal of your video. The premise is the message, what you're saying. The production is the actual camera and lights and that kind of stuff, and I'll show you what I use in a moment. The platform is the type of video you'll create. Promotion is getting it out there and distributing it. Power is leveraging it, so using that same video on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. And profit is monetizing it. So briefly, we'll go through each one of these. And purpose is, again, the goal. What is the objective of the video? What do you want the viewer to do after they watch the video? And that can be to opt in and get on your mailing list. It can be to buy something. It can be to join a club or to share. So different videos for different goals, obviously. And I do say goals over gadgets because people tend to get hung up on the equipment. And the truth is that the goal of your video is really more important than the specific equipment that you're going to use. So be strategic, but don't overthink it to the point that you don't do it. A video purpose can be a sales video. It can be video tips or how-to videos, which are really popular. It can be an explainer video, a webinar like this one, a homepage video on your website. Some of the folks who are speakers might have speaker reels. Customer testimonials are another easy way to do videos. And again, you don't have to be in person to do those. You can jump on Zoom and say, hey, if you were happy with the service you received, let's jump on Zoom and maybe you can do a quick testimonial for me.
So Lou, can I ask you like a real life example?
Of course.
So let's say I'm a hotel.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a boutique hotel, I'm not a Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
What in my purpose obviously is to get more bookings.
Right.
And to engage my audience.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're always looking and thinking of me and my location.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ideas of videos that we could do? I mean, like video tips?
Yeah, it could be anything from if it could be location specific. So if you are I'll use our local example. If you're Wentworth by the Sea in Rye, you might do something seasonal, like, hey, did you know this about this area or this part of the country? And we're only 5 minutes from Portsmouth. And so it could be location specific to remind folks, here are all the cool things you can do in our location. It could be, obviously you're having a special or a sale or something. It could be like, hey, a 3-day weekend escape package. So again, it just depends on what you want the viewer to do. Do you want the viewer, you obviously, like you said, you want to be top of mind when that person thinks about, where do I want to go this weekend, or where do I want on vacation? So
right. Say they're in Boston and they want to travel to the seacoast. So we'll just use, our area, for example, because Lou is located in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
We want to showcase our area, right? So if we're a hotel or a spa within a hotel or hotel and spa,
mm-hmm.
we want them to choose us, our location, over the many other locations that could be available in the seacoast.
Right. And it could even be as simple as a Facebook Live with your phone, where somebody from that hotel, the marketing person or whoever, goes out and says, hey, did you know we have this such and such street fair every year? I'm going to show you a little bit of what it's all about so that you can come by tomorrow and check it out. So again, it might just be, time specific or season specific, or it might be location specific. Or it could be because of a special sale. Or in this environment, it's going to be really tricky, and I'm sure it's much harder, obviously, if people are kind of locked down. But if anything, that could mean there's going to be sort of a pent-up demand of like, oh my God, everybody's dying to get out of the house and dying to get away from having the kids homeschooled or whatever it is. So there could be sort of like, okay, save this up for when this is all, when we get the okay to leave our home. So I think there's going to be sort of a pent-up demand in the hotel example, but again, it just depends.
Right, exactly, because a lot of the hotels are closed.
Yeah.
But you know, ramping up for, you know, when they can reopen, and just trying to think of some like real world examples
Yeah,
that we could
exactly.
use as we go along.
Yeah, and it could even be like personalized, and I'll show you the tool I use for this as well. But something like video email can be really powerful. If you have a good client or customer or a regular, and you want to reach out to them, especially now, or you say, hey, look, I know there's a lot going on here, and the last thing on your mind may be a spa visit, but you know, believe me, after 3 months of being with the kids at home, you're gonna need this, and you know, so those personal emails where you can reach out to specific customers or VIPs or people that regular people that come, that you want to kind of keep that connection with. So again, what's the ultimate goal? Is it awareness? Is it to build your brand? Is it to build your list? I mean, online in a lot of cases, our stuff is list building. Is it social proof, which is essentially a customer testimonial? Or is it just sales? I mean, are you just trying to drive, you know, a new product line or something like that? So think about what the goal is and create the video, sort of reverse engineer it from that way. So again, you can integrate and include video into your existing marketing. So if you're already doing email, you can do videos in your email. If you're already doing social media, you can do more live videos on social media. And again, you want to be consistent and always, always, always include a call to action. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they go through the trouble of making a video and then they just say like, okay, see you next time, rather than, you know, give us a call at blah, 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 or visit our website at blah, blah, blah. There should be a call to action with your video. As far as the premise is essentially the message or the content of your video. And probably the only thing I remember from college is this advertising formula, AIDA. And you can use that for your video message as well. It's attention, interest, desire, action. So that's sort of like, you know, the typical advertising formula. If you want at a loss for what to say or what to talk about on video, you can go to loubortone.com/ideas and get my 99 free tips video. So there's 99 ideas and topics for what to do and what to talk about on video. And you can grab that anytime for free, just as a little extra. The premise, again, what to say. Some people want to have a script. Some people prefer just an outline. Some people, like me, just ad lib. So it really depends what you're comfortable with. There's not really a right or wrong way to do it. Some folks prefer to have their script all typed out. I just prefer to sort of have 3 or 4 bullet points and kind of talk off an outline. And it also forces me to be brief and try to get my message out as clearly as possible. If you are camera shy, as I was, the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with it. You may want to start with Facebook Live because that's kind of less formal. There's sort of a little bit of more leeway with Facebook Live, but just try to relax and have fun with it. You can also do off-camera videos like these PowerPoint kind of things, which are essentially off-camera. If you do a Zoom video on Zoom, you can share your screen and not even be on camera. But you do have to determine whether you want your message to be on camera or off camera. And the difference is really there are certain videos where you should be on camera, like your homepage video. You want to make that connection. You want them to see you and to know that there's a person behind that company. If you're doing a tip series, you probably want to be on video because you want to be seen as the expert and as the resource who's bringing those tips to people. If your website has an About Me section, if you're a smaller business, you can have that video be, you want to be on camera for your About video. You want to be on camera for your live videos. So those are examples of on-camera videos, whereas off-camera videos, webinars, tutorials, you can do those off camera. There are a lot of tools. I'll share a couple that you can do cute animated videos that are off camera. You could do screencasts, or you can do something like this, which I call PowerPoint to video. I'm just sharing my PowerPoint slides on Zoom. And I know a lot of folks have video phobia, and I used to be that way as well. And at some point you just have to kind of say, look, if I want to connect and engage with my customers, especially when I can't be there in person, I'm going to have to just get on camera and get over it. And then as far as production goes, you want to keep it simple. Less is more. If you have an iPhone or a smartphone, you can totally use that. Think about whether your video is going to be a quick video or a keeper video. And what I mean by that is quick videos are Facebook Live, quick tips, usually stuff you do on the fly. And keeper videos are things that have more shelf life, like a homepage video or a sales video. So if you're just doing a quick tip series, that can be kind of a quickie. Testimonials are usually quick videos, Facebook Lives. Keeper videos, again, your homepage videos, your sales page videos, anything that's going to really help build your brand and have a shelf life. Again, start simple and use what you already have. If you've got a smartphone, chances are that's more than enough to create video. Because the more tech you have and the more tech you add, the more headaches you're going to have. So I see people go out and buy all this stuff. I got this gimbal fancy schmancy video thing, and honestly, I have not even taken it out of the box yet. So sometimes this, it's like I don't really need to use that. I just felt like I needed it in the moment. You don't need a ton of expensive equipment. So again, goals over gadgets. What you probably need if you're going to do a lot of video is lights, camera, and a good microphone. And I'll show you the ones that I use.
That's what I was going to ask you is, but what about lighting?
Yeah, I'm going to get into that in a sec. Again, if you look pretty good on camera from what you're seeing, then your lighting's probably okay. Now, right now, because I have a green screen, I look kind of pink. So I would have to adjust that. But if I just, was normal with normal daylight, it would probably be just fine. And again, natural light or daylight is oftentimes enough. But I will show you the cameras and lights that I recommend. If you don't have a webcam in your laptop or your desktop computer, this Logitech is highly recommended. It's about $50 on Amazon. It's called the Logitech HD Pro C920. But again, if you already have a camera in your computer, it's probably good enough to do video. The microphone that I use is a USB mic, and it's the Yeti Nano. I do a lot of videos, so I went for this slightly higher model. It's about $100 on Amazon, and this is the actual mic that I'm using right now, the Blue Yeti Nano. It just connects to the back of your computer, and you're good to go. So it's kind of set it and forget it. If you want, there's also a Blue Snowball mic, which is a slightly more affordable version of the Yeti. If you feel like you need a lavalier microphone, which you probably only need if you're going to be outdoors, the Rode Smart Lav is an option, as is the lower budget Audio Technica. And I know Julie will get you these slides if you have any questions or you want to refer to this later on.
Yes, we'll be sending out the recording after the call. So that's why, just to remind everyone, if you didn't provide your email address in the chat, please do so that we can be sure to get you out all these resources. Yes,
and I can give you the slides as well if you want. The lights that I use are called LED lights, and I just have 2 of these. You can see them reflecting off my glasses on either side of the computer here. And these are great because they are relatively affordable. Oops, I went backwards instead of forwards. They don't get hot. I think these 2 cost something like $130. And again, I just have them set up here. I use them every day. And especially if it's a gray day like it is today, I just put those on either side of my computer about 5-6 feet up, and I'm good to go. You can also use other kinds of lights. A lot of people like these ring lights or diva lights, and really you can get them from $30 to $300. It just depends on how much you want to spend. The nice thing about the ring lights is you can, if you're doing stuff with your phone, you can put your phone in the middle of it and sort of have the ring light around it. So those work pretty well as well. And then you don't really need to have a fancy setting or background, but you do want, something that's relatively uncluttered and clean and not distracting. Again, I'm using, a green screen, so I can put pictures or fancy, you know, this isn't really my office, this is just a green background, but whatever's brand appropriate, whatever is, you know, not cluttered and a big mess. Neutral, non-distracting is the best background, as long as it's evenly and adequately lit. A lot of us now are working from home for the first time. Well, maybe not for the first time, but more so than before. So just try to find a, you know, a quiet corner or a place in your dining room or living room or someplace that's going to be not have too much craziness going on in the background. A plain wall office is fine. Green screen is a little bit more advanced. That's what Julie and I are using. But it can be a cool way, like even on Zoom, you can add green screen backgrounds, which is what I did here. This is just a picture that I got, and I just have it, you know, up there in the background. Hold on a sec, let me see. Oh yeah. So, and then again, if you are going to shoot outdoors, that does create a few more challenges in terms of lighting and noise and that kind of stuff. So if you're just starting out, try to have a more controlled environment, because once you go outside, all bets are off and anything can happen. So, and it never fails, like the day that I want to shoot a lot of videos, is the day that the landscaper next door decides it's going to do leaf blowing and lawn mowing and all that stuff. But just keep going. The other thing you can use for background is vinyl. These lovely vinyl backgrounds that are really inexpensive on Amazon. If you search office backdrop or office background on Amazon, you can find a lot of different backdrops. Again, this one, I use 7x5 vinyl backdrops, and I literally have them tacked to the wall. So for like 18 bucks, you can get a really interesting, cool background. And once you're on there, you can see that they have all kinds of different backgrounds and backdrops, from offices to locations to whatever. So if you don't want to get into green screen and all that kind of stuff, you can just get one of these vinyl backgrounds and put it up behind you. I have so many of those, it's ridiculous. So again, when you want to record, what is the easiest way? What's the low-hanging fruit? You can actually record a Facebook Live and then download that and use that as your video. You can record live to YouTube and download that. And again, you can make it unlisted, so you're the only one that sees it until you decide to make it public. You can obviously record right on your iPhone or your iPad, or you can use third-party tools like QuickTime Movie if you're on a Mac, or Zoom, which is what we're using here, or even Loom, which I'll share in a moment. But Zoom is probably my go-to for recording video. Even if I have no other guests or people on, I'll just record the Zoom video. I get a nice MP4 file when I'm done recording, and then I can either put it up online or edit it if I need to. So Zoom is pretty much my go-to for recording videos. Any questions so far? Julie, I'll talk a little bit about editing if we're okay with that.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, definitely, shoot them over in the chat so that Lou can answer specific questions for your business and your type of business as we keep going. And I'm sure I'll come up with some additional questions too, Lou.
All right, great. I'll talk a little bit about editing then. The good news about editing, which I know is, strikes fear in the hearts of most people, is that a little editing goes a long way. So if you do a video on Zoom and you just cut out that few first seconds where you're futzing with the camera and the back where you're done, you may be good to go. But you can also add lower thirds, like your name across the bottom of the screen, or background music if it's appropriate. You can use what's called B-roll or background footage. And believe it or not, I find a lot of video footage or B-roll for free on, hang on, it'll come to me. Unsplash and Pixabay, a couple of photo sites that also have video. You can add effects, transitions to video. Again, the great thing with editing is the best editing is the editing you don't notice. You can also do an animated intro or outro. I think I did one of these for you, Julie, for your company, for SpaHive. And again, you don't have to go crazy or overuse effects just because you have them there. And when you say filter, Lisa's asking for a good filter. Do you mean like on software? Because typically I don't really use any filters other than on Zoom. There's a setting that says enhance or something like that that makes the video a little softer.
I think when you go on like iMovie, right, you can
Right.
add filters.
Yeah, and again, you know, less is more usually, but if you're trying to get a specific effect, you know, maybe there's a reason you wanted to go black and white, you can do that. Maybe there's a reason that you want it to look a little dreamier or pinker or whatever you know, again, it depends on your brand and what you're trying to accomplish. But
Yeah, I find I don't really use filters when we don't edit a ton of video
mhm,
either. But when we do, I find we don't use filters
mhm.
unless, right, there's one, I forget what it's called. It might be like dreamy, you know, and it
Yeah, dreamy or
softens it.
softening. And even on Zoom, there is a setting if you go into Zoom where you can kind of, and I think it's just called enhanced video or something, but all that does is it just softens it a little bit.
Right. And what do you think about the ones like on Instagram? You know, I see, you know, everybody has like vintage and
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Again, if it serves the story and the narrative of the video, then great. But if it's just for the sake of, you know, just like, okay, I want to have a video look, you know, rosy or dreamy or something, you know, you can certainly do that. Um,
and
there's
then
almost
there's another question. What should be the distance between you and the camera?
right.
And where should the light be positioned? So I know I can say for myself right now, I mean, the camera is less than an arm length away because I'm using my computer.
Yeah.
And you know, my very small green screen that we were testing out. And then I use a ring light,
Hmm.
or a loop light.
Yeah.
And it's probably, I don't know, 3 feet away.
Hmm.
And I have it positioned, you know, at this angle. So
Right.
right here. Now, I don't know what Lou says.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And again, judge by like, how do you look on screen? You know, like same thing. I'm an arm's length away from my camera because I'm at the computer. If you're doing your phone, you know, again, you can't get much further away than your arm length unless you have a selfie stick. But again, like if I was going to be way back here, you know, now I'm further away and it looks weird. So if you're here, kind of fill in the frame, that's going to be better. And my lights are, you want the light coming toward you. So I have my lights on either side of my computer right up here. You want the light to come toward you, not behind you. Like today I was on a Zoom and somebody was sitting in front of a window and all the light was coming in the window. So she was all dark, looked like one of those, you know, disguised videos or something. So you definitely want the light coming from the front.
And I find with this loop that I have, this ring light can be very, very bright. But if I have it head on, you know, I like glow. So I look super like oily and glowy. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I find if I set them off to the side, you know, it gives nice light without that. You know, if I get too close, so you could start to see, even though it's over there, you know, you can start to see that glow.
Yep. And then again with editing, you know, what's the lowest hanging fruit? If you're on a Mac, it's most likely iMovie. If you're on a PC, it could be Adobe Premiere Pro or Pinnacle Studio or even Camtasia. And I think I think she put in the chat, wevideo.com is a good resource if you want something that, you know, is Mac or PC because it's all web-based. Platform is basically the style. Again, there's a lot of ways to come at this. You can do on camera, you can do off camera, you can do a little of both, you can do live, you can do recorded. So you have to find the quickest and most efficient and effective style for you and what you want to do. So my go-to platform is typically slides to PowerPoint to, you know, to video because I can share my info on screen while I'm doing it. You don't have to get locked into one format. You can experiment with different styles. You know, try some live video, and if that's your thing and you're comfortable with it, then that's great. That's you always want to have sort of a go-to platform. Like, what's a video that I can get out and create and do it fairly quickly, and not have to make it a big production. And every video you create is a building block for your brand. So every time you're making a video, just think that's sort of like, okay, the more I do this, the more I'm, you know, enhancing my brand. And promotion, again, obviously, that's sharing and distributing your video. I know a lot of folks will do a video and it's sort of like, well, where is it? Well, it's on my hard drive. Well, might as well not exist. So get it off the hard drive, post it, share it. You want to try to get that, oh my gosh, I see you everywhere. So when I go to conferences and events, people tell me like, oh, you do a lot of stuff. You're all over the place. It's like, well, it's not really me. It's my videos that is sort of my proxies and sort of out there for me, working 24/7. I've got videos on YouTube. I've got videos on Facebook. I've got videos on LinkedIn. So it feels like I'm everywhere, but I'm not doing any additional work. I'm just posting the same video on several platforms at once. So if you have a video, and that's sort of like the hub of the spoke, you can post that to Facebook pretty easily. You can post it to LinkedIn as long as it's less than 10 minutes. You can share your video link on Twitter. You can obviously put it on your own website or blog. You can put it on YouTube and or Vimeo, which are relatively interchangeable. I've been putting videos in my emails lately to make them more personal. And of course, you can do video on Instagram if it's under a minute. So one video can go on many different platforms, and you can get a real, sort of shotgun effect by putting your same video on several platforms. What topics do you suggest for day spas now? Julie, you might want to tackle that one before I do, because I know it's a weird time and there's, things are different now. So it could just be that, hey, when you come back, we've got a special treat for you, or definitely you don't want to be tone deaf. You want to consider what's happening in the world and what's the context of the video and how can you relate to the viewer and what they're going through. Like for me, if it was a spa, like I go to this float place in Portsmouth, and they have sauna and float and all this stuff, but I can't do it now, obviously. But they're sending out stuff that says, hey, you've been home with the kids for 2 weeks now, and I bet you could really use a massage or something. But obviously you can't do that now. You have to sort of say, when this is all over, we'll be here for you, or something like that.
Yeah, and I think, I've seen clients do a lot of different things. I think by using video, it makes you more vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
right? It makes you more approachable. It helps you connect with your clients a little bit better.
Yep.
So, I don't feel like any of us love to do video, at least not in the beginning. And I can say that, my marketing people are always like video, video, video. And I don't do a ton of video myself because I don't love to do it. But I think that, now with what's going on, all of us are vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of us are in kind of the same position, kind of an equal playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's important for day spas, if you're going to do video, to send out messages to your clients, of inspiration, let them know that you're there, that you care for them, how you can help them. We had a day spa do, and we talked about this last week as an idea for when we had our coffee chat, but to do like an at-home spa party.
Mm-hmm.
So what might everyone have in their cupboard that they could create a mask that might, be beneficial,
Mm-hmm.
that they could do at home.
Right.
Some of the people, and I know Allison, I think, is on, and we're going to talk about this more on Wednesday on our coffee chat, and I'll be sharing it on my Instagram as well. She's a spa in Westboro, Mass,
Mm-hmm.
and all of her providers sent out personal video messages on social media to their clients, saying, I'm here, we're all in it together, giving them ideas and tips, very heartfelt,
right.
And you'll find that on their Facebook page. And I think that was amazing. And it's hard, it's hard for us to go out and say, my business is closed. I'm a spa consultant.
Yeah.
I had 2 big projects that I was working on that are at a complete halt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's behind the scenes work and we do other things, but it's very scary. And so I think for a spa, to just be open and be vulnerable and give them ideas of things that they can do. I know spas are selling retail products still. There are spas that are personally delivering products to their clients that are within a certain area, and that's great for day spas. It's not necessarily so great for the resort spas,
right?
But they can excuse me, put a package together, hand deliver it onto somebody's porch. I know my hairdresser, because I'm not going to make it like another 4 to 6 weeks without a good amount of gray showing. So I'm not blonde with black roots. I'm a brunette with gray roots. So my hairstylist is putting together a package for me of the color. So I'm not going to have to use box color, which is going to be a nightmare for her.
Yeah.
Put it on my porch, and my only job is to make sure I could color within the lines and do an at-home color. And I think she's charging me like $35, or I can't even remember, but I don't care, right? Because I don't need 3 inches of gray roots at the end of all this.
Right. Well,
so those are some ideas, of what day spas are doing now. Arena, I hope that helps, that just really being open with your clients and heartfelt, and we can share more ideas as well as we go along. And then Dina, who's coming to us from a product brand, he says, do you prefer more organic videos than professional ones?
Right. Again, I would go sort of that quick versus keeper. Like organic are great for Facebook Live in the moment, those sort of inspirational things, or hey, we're thinking of you. Especially now, they can be less professional. The only time I would go on, like, say, okay, this has to be a professional video, is if it's like your homepage video, like the first impression, people coming to see you for the first time, or coming to your website for the first time. Obviously, you want to have that make a good first impression, but otherwise, I think organic is totally fine. And then Marianne says, what about quick skincare tips and routines, easy skincare while you have everyone at home? I just picture this video with like 4, kids running around crazy in the background, and the person trying to stay, hey, how do you stay calm? What do you do for your routine when all hell's breaking loose at your house? So it just depends on the context, I guess. Live videos,
well, I think really, that's perfect too, Lou, to say, like, if you're a resort spa, excuse me, you could share like a meditation, a yoga class, a fitness class. Like, I know my gym set up a private Facebook page, and all of their instructors are doing live classes that they'll put on there, so that then you can do it on demand. So, my normal fit class that I like to do on Mondays, the instructor posted it this morning so that I could do it, later today, or, a lot of the, so that I don't have to go to whatever, Beachbody or these are also offering free tools, but you can be their resource.
Right. Yep. Because you want to be top of mind when all this, passes and we're sort of back to some kind of normal. But live video is a really great way to start. Forbes says that live videos on Facebook and Instagram Live keep your audience watching 3 times longer than recorded ones. And the daily watch time for Facebook Live videos have quadrupled in a single year, and they produce 6 times as many interactions as traditional videos. So live video is a great way to start. It's a great way to test the waters and kind of dip your toes in. Oops, how did I get muted? Can you hear me?
I muted you, sorry.
Okay. I guess you didn't like that.
That's what happens in live video.
Yep. So be consistent. Again, if you can, I'm going to start a thing. Basically, I'm an introvert, but I hear a lot of extroverts are going stir crazy. So I'm starting a stay home, stay social live stream at 1 o'clock on Facebook Live. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I just scheduled it, and I'm going to do it every day at 1 o'clock, for a while. And again, if you're doing a live Facebook Live, you need to treat it kind of like an event or a regular webinar. So again, you want to promote it ahead of time, use social email like we did for this, and say, hey, by the way, we're doing this thing on Monday. And once you're on live, you want to interact and engage with your viewers. It's totally okay to give them shout outs. If you're really doing a lot of it, you can think about third-party apps like Be Live or StreamYard. I use StreamYard.com to do my Facebook Lives because it just gives me more control over having more people on screen and stuff like that. And you can also share and repurpose your live streams with tools like repurpose.io or liveleap.com. You can use that to, when you do a Facebook, you can live, you can have it automatically sent to your website or blog with some of those tools. And video power is essentially just leverage or repurposing. And if you have digital assets like reports or brochures or articles, those can all be turned into videos, blog posts. But remember that consistency counts, because you need to try to be fairly consistent with it. And again, even if it's just a quick tip video or a very informal video that you're doing on your phone, once a week is a good place to start. I always talk about this. It's not the number of video views that who views your videos, because sometimes if you do a video on YouTube and you might be discouraged that it only got 20 views, but if it's the right 20 viewers, then that could be totally fine. Let me skip this one because that's from a different presentation. And then finally, video profit is monetizing your videos, which is the fun part, because you can create content and then you can monetize that content. I find the best way to do that is through video courses or video products or video webinars. And especially if your brick and mortar is shut down for the time being, maybe you can create an online course that you've been waiting to create, or some kind of online product with video. Virtual events are becoming obviously much more popular. So again, you can create and sell video courses. You can charge for video webinars. You can do virtual versions of live events once we're able to do live events again. You can create paid membership sites. Patreon is one site that does that. Or you can obviously just use your videos to promote your other products and services. So every video is really a sales video at the end of the day. I tried this Patreon experiment for a little while, and this is someplace where you go and you offer exclusive content, and then folks sign up for a certain level or whatever. So I was making like a whopping $88 a month when I tried this little experiment. So I didn't continue it, but it's a good way. Patreon is a site that allows you to put content there, like video content, and make it available to people who are just paying you every month, even if they're just paying you $5 or $10 a month. But video courses, for me, I find that's the best way to monetize video, because you can put courses on Udemy or Skillshare or Teachable and create another passive revenue stream by just sharing your knowledge and your expertise. So maybe, especially now, if you're not able to do the stuff you're usually able to do, you can create a course or a product or a series of videos and then put that on Udemy and charge for it. So I have a ton of video courses. And I do a lot because the technology changes so quickly that I have to change the courses very often. You don't necessarily have to do that many courses, but that is a good way to do it. So again, purpose, premise, production platforms, promotion, power, and profit. Those are the 7 steps. And a couple of other newbie tips before we wrap up. Start with Facebook Live if you've never started before, because it tends to be the easiest way to get going. If you are dead set against being on camera, you can try off-camera options like screen sharing. You can do a Zoom interview for practice. Again, if you have 1 or 2 or 3 people on Zoom, you can kind of use the interaction as practice. Your mobile device is probably your best camera. Again, decide whether your video is a quick video or a keeper videos. Quick videos are on the fly, organic videos like Facebook Live. Keeper videos are things like your homepage video, in which case you might want to have somebody do that professionally. But the main thing is to just start, and that done is better than perfect. People are going to be very understanding these days. If the light isn't quite right, because they just want the content and they want to connect and engage with you. Again, I use Zoom, obviously, for tons of video stuff. I also use another tool called Loom at useloom.com. And I use Loom for video emails, which is cool because, again, you can just pop on and do a quick hello or a quick message, almost like a regular email, except that you're on screen, so it's a lot more personal and engaging. A couple of my favorite tools that I use I'll show you these, actually. I'll just show you each one. This one's called Mock-Up Shots, and if you have a product or a book, it will put it on, with one click, we'll put it on several different scenarios. So this is particularly good for social media. So it's not video specific, but again, I have a book called Video Marketing Rules. I upload the cover, I put it on Mock-Up Shots, and with one click, I've got all these different little things that I can download and edit and use for social media. So that's a fun little tool there that you can find at loubortone.com/mockup. So you put whatever your cover is, it can be a product or a book, it will put it in all these different sort of images or scenarios with one click, so it's really convenient. For thumbnails, video thumbnails, I use something called Thumbnail Blaster, which I think it's a one-time fee of like $37. If you're doing YouTube videos, you have the opportunity to upload a custom thumbnail, and those tend to be clicked a lot more because they're more interesting than the generic thumbnails. So these are a couple of examples of custom thumbnails that I've created with Thumbnail Blaster. And it's great because they're templates, and I just have to switch out the text and throw in a different picture, and it's good to go. Dub is another tool that I use for video email. As you can see, you're sort of like you've got like a little inset or a little circle on there where you can be on screen, but you're really sharing your screen at the same time. So that's it's very much like Loom, but it's a little bit more has a little bit more bells and whistles. VIDYZ, I don't even know how to say this. I think it's Viddies. But this is another way to host your videos if you don't want to host your video on YouTube for some reason. Some people don't like to have that YouTube watermark on their videos. So this is just an alternate to YouTube. And again, I know we're going through these kind of fast, so I'll make sure I get the slides to Julie to share with you. But I use the Viddies for my video on my homepage, again, because I don't want all that YouTube crap on this video. I just want a nice clean video hosted on this site that doesn't have all the YouTube baggage with it. And incidentally, this is one of those vinyl backgrounds that I was using behind me. So that's not really New York. It's just a piece of vinyl. Another way to host your videos is Smart Video. And again, the only reason that you'd want to probably have this is if you're doing a lot of video and you don't want to host your video on YouTube and you want more control over it. Things like Smart Video give you a lot more control over the video and what it looks like and what the environment is. Because if you just put your video on YouTube and host it there, that's fine. But at the end of that video, other videos are going to pop up. People can kind of go down a rabbit hole on YouTube and never come back. So this is if you want sort of custom professional video hosting that's yours and you're not beholden to YouTube. Last but not least, a few of the biggest mistakes people make. Not getting started is probably the biggie. A lot of times when I work with students, they'll say, oh my God, if I knew it was that easy, I would have done it a long time ago. So just get started. Don't get hung up in the perfection trap. Make sure that you are repurposing your existing content. If you've got a podcast, that can be a video. If you've got a blog post, that can be a video. And again, you don't necessarily have to get stuck with one style. You can find your video sweet spot, but you can also experiment with different styles. Be sure to distribute your video across multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and your own website. And again, video accelerates the sales process. So I really believe that if you're not using it, you're leaving money on the table and missing opportunities. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, last but not least, I'm doing this video a day challenge in April. I think I told Julie about this. I do this every year, but I think now it seems a little bit more relevant because so many of us are having to use video. It's $97, and basically you get a prompt every day to do a video, and lots of video tutorials and weekly Q&A calls and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's a lot of accountability. We have a Facebook group where you can post videos where nobody else can see them except the private Facebook group. So it's kind of a safe space to experiment. And really the best way to get better at video is just to do more of it. So if you're interested in that, you can go to loubortone.com/April. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Great info, Lou.
Thank you. I think that's all I got.
I wanted to add 2 quick things before we went away.
Yeah.
Was I love Loom. So Lou told me about Loom maybe a year or 2 ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is a video email. So you can send an email out with a little video. So it's really great because my open rate is always much higher when there's a little video attached to it. And I don't do it all the time. I mean, I don't do it very often at all. But when I'm, maybe harassing someone, and I can't seem to get a reply but really want one, I'll do a quick little video and then send it out in the email, and people seem to really enjoy that. So check out Loom. The other
I'll show you my Loom screen just to show you that I do use it all the time, so you can see from if I'm telling people about the video a day challenge, I can go right to that page and do my Loom video from that page. So as you can see, I use it extensively. So it's been a lifesaver for me because it's a great way to reach people. Again, like Julie says, if they're not responding or if they're not opening your email, video email can be a really powerful way to get their attention.
And then the other thing we use is Adobe Spark, which is not necessarily video, but we have a lot of blog content. And so brands that are on this call, as well as, spas that are on this call that do, and inns and hotels that do blogs. Oh, it's snowing. Anyway, that do blogs, we repurpose our content. So it's a good way to take your blog, go to Adobe Spark. I think we have a free version.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we do, because it has the watermark on it, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And then you can take the blog, cut it down to, just tips, and then use Adobe Spark, and you voice over Adobe Spark. So you're not necessarily on video. It's a nice kind of automated, right? Animated, automated presentation, and you can voice over it. So we really like that to repurpose content that you already have.
Mm-hmm. And
you mentioned Udemy. How do you say
Udemy,
it?
yeah.
Udemy.
Yeah.
And that's another great place if you're not familiar with Udemy. I mean, I do classes. Mm-hmm. We've done social media classes, but I just got like a chakra balancing class that somebody sent me, a Reiki 1, Reiki 2, also how to make products, like lotions and scrubs and DIY skincare. So, you have an expertise. If you go to Udemy, thanks Lou for putting that in there, you can do a smaller course. And that's just another way to, build your reach and exposure. Yeah,
and Udemy is great because there's already it's like an existing community and there's a big audience there. The only downside, it's not really even a downside, is that they, there's a revenue split. So if you do a course that's $97, they may keep half of it, but you may not have sold it at all if it wasn't for them. So.
Exactly, and it's great for exposure. It's great for SEO purposes. Mm-hmm. So those were my little chime-ins. I wanted to thank everybody for joining today. Remind you that we have our coffee chat this Thursday, and we're going to be doing webinars like these for the next 5 weeks.
Wow.
So stay tuned for more information. I want to just be able to help you have the tools that you need for your business and to be able to grow your business and get through these trying times. I know we can all do it together. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And thank you, Lou.
Thanks, Julie.
Lou is very modest. He didn't mention that he is an Emmy Award winner. So I want to make sure that I am always bringing, you know, our community the best of the best. And you know, Lou, as he said, is an introvert, but he is one of the best of the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.